fingers. That's what's hurting.
Yeah. Let's roll.
Here we go.
Off we go on a Monday. It is the Vegas Take coming right live here at the All-New 101.5 FM, 7:20 a.m. K-Dawn, getting you set for your Thanksgiving Day week. What's that mean? Well, it means that JD and Brian Shapiro, the host of the show, they're out for a few days, but never fear. It's still getting covered. We're taking care of it. Johnny on the board, handling things behind the scenes for us. My name is Chris Wynn, also in for Brian Shapiro, along with longtime Las Vegas host. Does a tremendous job all across Las Vegas radio. You've heard him covering a number of shows. Myself, I had an opportunity to start work with Pat back in the day. We did sports radio on the AM side of the dial. It seems like it was years ago, doesn't it, Pat?
It does, but it was real radio.
We're doing real radio back in the mid 2000s, and he had a tremendous show talking sports
on Fox.
in town over on Fox Sports Radio here in Las Vegas. Pat Casal joining us on the show. Pat,
hey, Chris,
always great to see you.
You know what's funny? It's just good stuff was good radio was sports radio, especially here in Las Vegas. Now we're talking politics and such.
There's certainly a good time to do it, right? Because there's so many intriguing things going on in the world of politics.
Who would have ever thought it, though? I mean, who would have ever thought the news waves would strictly be a political show? Everything's political. TV series now, television on specials are politics, and then every news station's politics.
And look, like you said, we talk sports, but there's a lot of intersection between sports and politics these days.
There is
things that happen that are interesting to people all across whatever your ideology is, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever it is you think. And it's been very intriguing, to say the least, to see that intersection between people. Because here's the deal, right, Pat? We're not just sports guys. We're not just people that focus on entertainment. We don't just focus on politics. We're American citizens, right? So we have our perspective. We have our insight.
That's what makes us the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, we have our take on all things America.
But
and
think
so
about
that's why it always gets me fired up, Pat.
But
when people try to say, stay in your lane. You're supposed to be an expert. By the way, I'm not an expert on anything. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we're doing something that represents the United States truth, the First Amendment right. Mm-hmm. We're able to speak our feelings, our mind. Where else in the world can you make that claim?
You can. It's a tough thing to do. And look, there's a lot of mediums out there, whether it's television, radio. Obviously, podcasts are huge nowadays, and people have all types of access to different types of radio. But this is in your face, right? This is an opportunity where you can interact with callers, and people can air out their opinions and their thoughts. And people are going to agree, disagree, whatever.
That we agree to disagree. That's the key.
Oh, that's big.
It happens all the time, and that's what makes what we do so amazing. This opportunity to be on the air, go in print, is a miracle from God, because our forefathers gave us the freedom of speech, freedom of religion. We're in the world. I mean, freedom of religion in some parts of the world does not exist. You could die for your religious beliefs, because the power in play will get rid of you. I mean, we live in the greatest country that's ever been ever conceived, and it's been great. And we're lucky. I mean, I'm very blessed. It's just the Thanksgiving week. I have my family around. I'm grateful that I can provide a meal to my family without having the stress. And if you look at the world we live in, we're a very fortunate country. And we need to. Our country needs to change in the grassroots. We need to start taking better care of our own. You know what I mean? We need to start feeding. In the United States of America, there should never be a homeless person. Nobody should starve in the United States, and everybody should have a roof over their head. That's my firm belief. And there's no reason why that hasn't happened, other than greed from above. And it could be a Democrat thing, it could be a Republican thing, it could be an independent thing. The bottom line is, we are forgetting our brothers and sisters in a lot of ways, and it really bothers me.
Well said, Pat. And of course, being on a Monday, so much to talk about as we had the weekend as well as what's transpired over the last couple of weeks. I mean, even you'd have to admit, as someone who's a Republican and who supports the president, this has been somewhat of an historic last 2 weeks as far as kind of the focus.
Historic is a great way of putting it. I think what the Democrats are losing sight of, and I think it was evident last week in the debate, is that they're taking away the sizzle and the power of these candidates trying to run against the president. I think if the Democrats truly wanted to win, they need to get to work and get certain things done and get some victories instead of keep going after. You know what? You got to beat them at the ballot box. I mean, I know we discussed this on the side.
Right.
You got 25, 27 people running for president on the Democratic ticket, and you know what? Here you're less than a year away. You need to get the game. You need to tighten up your game and get focused. And you know what? You can't take away the energy from your candidates if you want them to win. And I would say the same thing about the Republicans. I remember saying this 4 years ago. Is this the best we've got to offer on the Republican side? And I say the same thing about the Democratic ticket. We have a lot of retreads. We have a lot of people running around making statements that just are ridiculous. You know what makes this country great? The people, the hardworking people. You're from Michigan.
Yes. I'm
from Jersey. Hard work. You're middle class. Our parents worked hard.
100%.
And I'm going to tell you what I was talking about earlier. There's 4 things that are important to American citizens. The 4 top things. Jingle in their pocket. They got money in their pocket. They have security to do what they have to do. Food on the table. Most important. They're taking care of the family. A roof over their head and clothes on their back. If those 4 things, those 4 elements are working and they're sizzling, guess what? The American person or people are happy. They thrive. They can get their kids into school. They can save a buck. That's the key to America. And you know what? When you listen to these nut jobs saying we're going to raise taxes, we're going to get rid of the tax cut, or we're gonna increase the payroll tax, but to 42%. I realize it was only one person. Oh, actually 2. But then you have other people jumping on the bandwagon, talking Medicare for all, where the cost is brutal. You're not going to gain votes. If you want to, you know what's funny? I don't think Trump wins the election. I think the candidates that are currently out there will lose the election because of the way they're talking, their ideology. The average person wants money, and when you look at home ownership rising, when you look at jobs rising, wages rising, I mean, Bay of A is now paying $20 an hour minimum wage for startup to work as a teller, plus benefits. That's $40,000. That's a lot of money, and it's not with a handcuff associated with it. These are the kind of things that have to happen. Our nation is thriving, and why? Because we're allowed to do what we can do, and they've taken away a lot of. What Trump did do is he took off $2.9 trillion of restraints to businesses that allow them to prosper. And if you look at what you spoke earlier about Michigan and Pennsylvania, a lot of people are getting jobs back in the industries that were being shut down, West Virginia, mining, etc. This is a big deal. These are the kind of things that we as a nation have to take into consideration and take that wealth to the next level. We're being foolish.
And it's going to be a big decision that we're going to make. Look, we know the deal, okay? 12 months from now, so for the next 12 months, it's going to be a frenzy, okay? The whole 2020 political process is going to be something to see. Let's put it that way, right? And at the end of the day, but here's the deal, Pat. At the end of the day, there's going to end up being one Democratic candidate, right? There's going to be President Trump, and then that's it, okay? I mean, look, we understand there are independent candidates. We understand there are Green Party candidates. But when it's all said and done, what does it usually come down to, right? It comes down to the incumbent, which is Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And it's going to come down to probably a Democratic candidate by the name of either Warren or Joe Biden, or throw in maybe another name that it possibly could be.
What about Michael Bloomberg?
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk about that, by the way, too. 702-257-5396 is the phone number. We want to get your thoughts on look, it's been an impeachment process that's gone on. Apparently today is going to be the first judgment and ruling regarding the impeachment process and what goes down. So we'll get into that as well, too. But a name that's been put in there, Pat, is a name of Rudy Giuliani. Of course, is the personal attorney of President Trump.
Yes, he is.
And, of course, all of this last couple of weeks has really centered around Ukraine and what happened there. And Rudy Giuliani was very active over the weekend. He had an actual interview with Ed Henry over at Fox News that was intriguing, to say the least, for all of us.
It was good for exception of one thing he said that was kind of scary.
Exactly. And look, it was you're not going to expect. Ed Henry is someone that has been over at Fox News for a while. I wouldn't put Ed Henry in a category of any type of fake news or anything
No,
like that.
he's
I think he's someone
definitely.
that, I think he has
center.
his own personal opinion regarding President Trump.
And I think he's conservative. I think he's defended Trump on many occasions. So this was an interesting dialogue.
Yes, what went down here was a little bit unexpected, I think is safe to say, between Rudy Giuliani and Ed Henry. Very interesting that this is coming to play because, let's be honest, I haven't heard a whole lot about this. This isn't not an angle, I guess, that we have necessarily been addressing as far as possibilities of Barack Obama and his administration being involved in some type of wrong. Yeah, but
Giuliani's been talking.
This hasn't been a focus. This has been basically out of nowhere, right, Matt?
Well,
this is not something that we've been talking about.
Here's the thing. You know, when you talk about the impeachment hearings and all that and whatnot, Giuliani's been going after Biden since 2015. During the presidential run, he was talking about, we should be looking into the Bidens. The same thing with Hillary and all that good stuff.
But Rudy Giuliani is the personal attorney to President Trump.
We agree.
I'm not arguing. He's not someone that works in the government.
If you check out the history of what I'm about to tell you, Giuliani, from the time the president got elected, has always been talking about. First of all, if you remember, when Trump brought up the fact that they felt that Russians were tampering with the elections, right? They laughed at him. I mean, Obama laughed at him. And then what happens? It really did happen. Now it's a big deal. Secondly,
I don't know if Barack Obama laughed at him. I think that Democrats took the position of, you know what, we're going to win anyway. Hillary's going to win anyway. So
Obama did laugh at him. He goes, listen,
But you know what I'm saying, though? That's what Democrats thought.
His position was he's crying in this coffee already. But let's go backwards. But from the beginning, Giuliani has always been talking about Biden. Before Biden even threw his name in the ring. And I believe, personally, that Barack Obama doesn't think that Biden should run for president. That's why he hasn't come out and endorsed. That's my opinion. I don't think he thinks Joe should run for a lot of reasons. Now, we don't. Wait. Right now, it's all conjecture.
Yeah,
we can sit here and argue back and forth.
President Obama could just be waiting until the Democrat nominee is actually named, and then he'll support whoever the Democrat nominee is.
He told Biden he shouldn't run in 16, and I doubt that 4 years older he won't Biden to run now. I think what Obama would prefer, and I got to tell you, Obama's laid low, and what he said about twice now in his last two interviews were very, very poetic. He was like, listen, the United States of America doesn't want all this change. Take it easy. You're trying to restructure the whole country. You're getting too dramatic. Yet people are, because of one guy, Bernie Sanders, you have a party going so far left, they're losing sight of one fact. To win, you can't be that liberal. People can't lose jobs. People do not want to rely on the government to pay them. And that's where Elizabeth Warren and Bernie and several others have tried to go. I give Biden credit. He hasn't gone that far, but he's starting to move to the left. And that's why I believe Bloomberg is
Joe Biden's not going anywhere. Joe Biden is what he is. He's a centrist Democrat.
I wish you were right.
He's not going to be somebody who's, you say he's being pulled to the left. I don't really know what that means. Joe Biden's
what it means. I'll tell you what it means. When you have 10 people on stage talking about this for free, that for free, Biden wasn't like that. But Biden knows if I got to get votes, if I got to win, I got to slide over. That's where Bloomberg comes in and makes a difference. And Bloomberg and Biden are friends. And Bloomberg told Biden, I will not run if you're going to win. Mm-hmm. Bloomberg throwing his name in the hat or in the ring means that he believes that Biden isn't going to win.
And it's been determined. It's official now, right?
Oh, it's official.
As of yesterday,
$28 million.
Michael Bloomberg is now running for president of the United States on the Democratic Democratic side. He's running to be the Democrat nominee.
Well, let's go backwards. Let's talk about your Giuliani.
2020. But let's give the phone number to 257-5396 is the phone number. 702-257-5396. You're listening to the Vegas Take. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce is on the phone line here. He wants to make a comment as to what Pat's talking about as far as the economy and the 2020 elections. Bruce, we appreciate you joining the show. How are you?
Real good, sir. You and yours, my friend.
Thanks, Bruce. We appreciate your phone call.
Great
Look,
call.
He touches on some serious issues, right?
Absolutely.
But look, I don't know if the Republican Party is where you want to go when you're talking about. Look, DeVos has got absolutely destroyed over the last 3 years
And as much as
regarding
I agree,
her policies in education
you know what, though?
and school choice and how she wants to go about public education. To what Bruce was just talking about,
but every
it's
election,
not exactly
what do we want to do?
one of the things you want to hang your hat on as Republican.
The
though,
cannabis industry, and part of that money was supposed to go where? Education. Where is the money going? Here's my thing, and I as somebody who was around kids for 17 years, coaching, etc. You know what? I really wonder what they're doing with all this money. I mean, I really don't think we let parents parent. We don't let teachers teach. If a kid fails, it's a teacher's fault, which is wrong. You know, you and I, we're close. I mean, I'm a little older than you, but I remember one thing. If I brought home a letter from the teacher, my mother didn't sit there and go, these kids just aren't being taught right. My mother gave me a whooping. Yeah. Like I did something wrong. Okay? And here's the problem.
I get that, yeah.
And you know what? We were accountable. I could tell you this, Chris. When I graduated high school, I didn't have to take an exam to get out of school. You didn't either. You were there. You knew how to read. Yep. You couldn't get to your senior year without being able to add 1 and 1 or reading or writing. Today, you write your name on a piece of paper. You don't answer any question. You get a 50. There's a problem. We have lowered the standard of education in this country to a level of ridiculousness. When you consider all the money in California, and they said 57% of the student body in California, some areas, don't graduate, that's ridiculous. We are failing our kids, but in different ways. Instead of teaching, we're preaching. You know, we don't want people to learn how to read and write. I mean, my granddaughter had a learning disability. What do? We got her extra help. Now she reads better than I do. Okay? That's what it's all about. We as human beings need to help our youth grow and teach them. We fail to do that. As a baseball coach, I told my players, you think your parents go to work and just get paid? Hell no. They don't go to work from 12 to 1 with an hour for lunch. Okay? If they want to raise, they got to stand out and they got to make a difference. As a baseball player, you want to play? I can only play 9 guys. I got 15, 20 guys. Yep. Somebody's got to stand out and make a difference. You teach people how to stand out and make a difference, guess what happens? You develop a thriving nation.
702-257-5396 is the phone number. We're discussing the 2020 election, what this, the impeachment process and inquiry means to that, and also the candidates for the 2020 election. Who's going to be the real difference makers? Who's going to be the people we're going to be talking about as we roll into the spring and, of course, summertime, and it gets really heated as to, who's going to be that nominee.
I wish it was Schultz. I wish he threw his hat in the ring.
Look, here's the deal. It's all about the Democratic side, obviously, because you have all these candidates. And, now with Bloomberg back into the mix, now it's back out to, 18 candidates running for the Democratic side?
20, the way they're talking.
So you've got the numbers back up there from what they were after having, 3 or 4 people drop out in the past 3-4 months.
But here's the thing. You had the guy from Massachusetts, the former mayor. He shouldn't be in the – he's not strong enough.
Deval Patrick.
He was embarrassed down in Morehouse College. Mm-hmm. I have to sit here and tell you, they're talking about billionaires throwing their hat in the ring. You got Steyer's name in there. You got Bloomberg. I'm hoping that Schultz, as an independent, throws his hat in the ring, and I'll tell you why. If he were to become president, I would support him. Why? Because I think he gets what we need to do in this country. Bloomberg, a little over a year ago, was a Republican. Now he's a Democrat, was an independent. He's been all over it, similar to Trump. But Bloomberg and Trump have one thing in common. They understand how to run a business. And you know what? Bloomberg was not elected once, not twice, but 3 times as mayor of New York City. You don't get any more liberal in New York. Why? Because they liked Bloomberg. He did what was right for the people. And this is where the Democrats, some, lose the idea of what they're about. They're trying to make changes. They're trying to fix things that aren't broken, Chris.
Heading out to the GCI guys' phone lines, Michelle joins us now here on the Vegas Take. She wants to talk about a little bit Democratic presidential candidates. Michelle, we appreciate your phone call. Wow, whoa, time out. Well, hold on. Yeah.
Let her finish.
Well, okay. No, he's gone. He's long gone. And Michelle, we appreciate the phone call. We have to cut a little short. We have a hard break we have to get to. But look, it's obvious, Pat. She's a Republican. She's not voting for a Democrat. Okay, she just went on a tear about two other candidates who, and on the other side of the break, we'll get to it. On the other side of the break, but she's talking about two people that are in single digits, and of course Elizabeth Warren, who's one of the front runners in the Democratic Party.
Well, I can talk about the insurance industry.
Yeah, we have to address on the other side, but I want to get to her point. She brought up honesty, obviously, and policies, Elizabeth Warren. So we'll roll with that. I'm Chris Wynn in for Brian Shapiro and JD Sharp, along with Pat Casale here live in studio. It's the Vegas Take on your Monday. We'll be back on the other side.
See,
it's like,
but you know what's funny? As an insurance broker.
Yeah, she's obviously was she an insurance broker? I thought she might be in real estate.
No, she's an insurance broker. Here's what you got to remember: the entire industry. It's not just agents. It's medical billing out the window. All the people that are working at the insurance carriers that work in the back offices. You're talking about millions and millions of jobs. And when they start talking about we're gonna wipe it clean, it'll be easy. Really? Do you know Medicare?
That's not happening. You know it's not gonna happen though. When it comes to the general election,
they didn't say it was gonna happen about the Affordable Care Act, and guess what? It did.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But
you know what the rates are?
They were trying to. They're not Chris, in the let's destroy American business.
I sell insurance for a living, but I'm gonna tell you right now. Yeah. My wife and I this year, I paid $1,500 a month insurance, husband and wife, because we're of our age.
Absolutely.
That's $18,000, and I hit my out-of-pocket max with my wife, which was $7,350. I'm out $25,000 this year.
Hey, things need to get fixed with respect to health care.
And I'm going to tell you right
denies that. But
the government has not done their job. You know what? There's so much bickering. We had a
So at what point are we going to start? What point are we going to stop blaming Democrats about that?
Whoa! I didn't say both. I said both sides aren't getting anything done.
Well, she was just going off on all Democrats.
Because the Democrats right now are the ones telling.
We'll talk about it on the other side. But
they're talking about getting rid of the insurance. But wait a minute. Think about it. We had an association help plan that I put together for the realtors that our senators shot down. They said, they're crap plans. Guess what? They weren't. And they didn't know it. When I went back to talk to them, they're like, we didn't know these were good plans. Then why did you shoot them down? They were working. People were buying them. My sales were going through the roof. Yeah. You shot them down. Why? Because you said they were junk plans. But I will tell you this. I got a client right now that I'm representing, like an attorney, who owes $500,000 because they bought a junk plan off of robocalls, which should be shut down.
Yep.
Those robocalls they're people being lied to, and you know why they're buying? Because it sounds like it's going to work. It's cheap until they have to use it. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. And what had that all start? And I'll tell you the other one. You know these ministry plans you hear on TV, on the radio? They're not insurance. There's no guarantee they're going to pay. And what they're doing, they're cherry picking. They're taking all the healthy people out. That makes our rates go up. The government has no jurisdiction over them. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yes. The Department of Insurance can't go after them. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I got people buying that stuff, and how they work, it could take up to a year or 15 months to get those claims paid. What happens if you don't pay your bill in the 15 months? Who goes to collections? Medishare? No. You and I do.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It's your own personal. Yeah, it ends up being personally on you.
We are all being our politicians, and I blame the Republicans too because they wanted to overthrow this. What did they do? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the ball was in their court, they have no plan. That's their fucking fault. We are getting screwed because they're back there. All they're worried about is their $174,000 a year in instant wage and the living expense, and they want pay raises. And you and I are sitting going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I mean, listen. What happens if this economy changes? What happens if the radio station does close down? What do we do then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to look at things from the perspective of the American people. As long as we got our money coming in, we have security. Guess what? We're happy,
mm-hmm.
and that's what it's all: job creation, making money. Security for our families. I want to protect my kids.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
Amee Vanderpool.
She's on now?
We got. I think he's on the phone right now.
We were on. That was a 30-minute segment, huh?
Yeah, it was. It goes by fast, man.
Yeah. And then make sure you tell them to log into the YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah.
You guys are looking good. You look way better than Brian. Like no, because he looks so pale.
He
so
does,
right on this light, the light right here makes him look so pale. It looks like he's sick.
You got Amee? You have Amee? Just get Amee, yeah. Yeah.
We'll come back to it.
It's at the Vegas Take, right? The YouTube channel? Is it the Vegas Take YouTube channel?
Yeah, Vegas Take. Vegas Take. Yeah, Vegas Take.
I didn't realize we were that long. It did feel like a longer segment.
Yeah.
Another great guy. I love Timmy.
KT's awesome, dude. KT's legit.
I know a long time.
Sanchez. Constitution one hand, Bible on the other.
I listened to some of that stuff the other day. I was really shocked at what they were saying.
Very good. We're good, Pat. Here we go. Yeah. Rudy Giuliani coming back there here. Vegas Take. Obviously in the news over the weekend. Chris Wynn in for Brian Shapiro and J.D. Sharp, along with Pat Casale here live in studio. Las Vegas and Nevada Republican, also Donald Trump supporter. And also he is wired in when it comes to the healthcare business. You want to talk about that? Pat Casale is your guy, and so we're very fortunate to have him in studio here once we start getting into the nitty-gritty in that area as well. 702-257-5396 is the phone number here. You're live on the Vegas Take. You can also catch us streaming on our YouTube channel at the Vegas Take, so you can also tell whether or not we have faces for radio or not there on the YouTube channel. So, of course,
perfect face radio.
Doing a great job with that. So we're getting your Monday rolling here. Of course, so much to talk about regarding the impeachment process, and of course, we've been discussing the 2020 election. Right? What is it going to look like as we start getting into the months here of the election process and the election cycle, and what the Democrats have to offer there? So it's going to be extremely interesting to see what goes down. And I believe we have on the phone lines now. She does a tremendous job as a contributor with Playboy as well as the BBC. She's been all over everything with the impeachment process the last couple of weeks. Amee Vanderpool joining us now here on the Vegas Take. Amee, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Good.
We're doing great. little bombarded by the events of the past fortnight, as they say, over across the pond. As so much has gone down regarding the impeachment process, and President Trump and Ukraine, and and parts of President Trump's both his administration and also his personal circle. And of course, a focus over the weekend was with Rudy Giuliani, and what he was talking about on Fox News with Ed Henry there, and his involvement in Ukraine. And I gotta believe that this is not something that is extremely beneficial to President Trump regarding the impeachment process. And of course, another detail that's come into play here is the possible connection, right, of Devin Nunes, of course, who's on the Intelligence Committee that has been basically in control of these entire proceedings the last couple of weeks. Wanted to get your thoughts on that as far as Devin Nunes and his possible connections with Rudy Giuliani and the other individuals involved here.
So, well, Amy, I have a question for you, because yesterday, that's the one thing that Giuliani did say. He goes, he didn't believe Nunes was involved with any of that. He does, so that's interesting. It's an interesting concept. And also, the one thing that Giuliani did say that opened up a lot of ears and now a lot more sniffing is he said, I have insurance. I mean, in other words, I'm not going to get fired by the president, or he's not going to come out against me. What do you think he was talking about? What could he have on Graham? I mean, Graham has been a lifetime politician. The president wasn't a lifetime president. Well, you can say that about both. I mean, Giuliani was involved with Epstein. And Trump, in fact, told he also 86'd him off of his properties after when he found out how demented the man was. I mean, that is true. But he did 80. He was the first named person to 86 him. The president was. He got rid of Epstein. Not. You know what? Nobody's ever talked about him having sex with children, and no kids came out. How many kids have come forward? Like with Epstein, he had a lot of interesting people. Credible, but you said credible. I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't. If they're credible, they would. I mean, why wouldn't the Democrats go after the president on that basis alone?
You can follow her at Girls Really Rule on Twitter. Does a great job with commentary with BBC. Also, a contributor to Playboy. Amee Vanderpool joining us here on the Vegas Take. So Pat and I, Amee, have been discussing the candidates, the Democratic candidates for the 2020 election upcoming. And, of course, another one has been thrown their hat into the ring as of yesterday. And, of course, that's Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York, obviously billionaire, someone who is very prominent in the business community. And it begs the question. It does, in my opinion, as someone who is a Democrat myself and who is a never Trumper, as to what this means for the Democrats as we head towards 2020 with him throwing his hat in the ring. Is this something that is an indictment of the Democratic Party? I want to get your opinion regarding Michael Bloomberg joining the race.
Will there be any other candidates throwing their hat in the ring, you think? Well, he won't be on the debate stage, that's for sure. Not for a while, anyway.
So, Amee, one of the Democratic, obviously the front runner right now for the Democrats is Joe Biden. You had an interesting tweet today where you talked about, basically breaking news out of his campaign. Now, when we think about Joe Biden, we think about someone who gets a tremendous support when it comes to the African American community, right? As far as all the Democrats, there's no question. I think that he has the, he's cornered that market when it comes to the African American community. Now, not so much the case, I guess, now considering the Latin American community. Right.
What's your take on Mayor Pete's rise? I mean, Mayor Pete is rising, and I actually said that a few weeks ago. Of all the candidates, he seems like he's got the most ability to rise, and he speaks very well. He's much more to the center. What's your take on him? if he rolls in Iowa, do you think the momentum will carry him to other states that follow? And do you think, what states do you think he could really be strong? Like California? Do you think he could win South Carolina or go back to Big East like Vermont and the New England area? I mean, what do you think could happen if he wins big in Iowa?
You can follow her at Girls Really Rule on Twitter. She does a tremendous job as a commentator with the BBC and also a contributor to Playboy. It's Amee Vanderpool joining us here on the Vegas Take. Amee, we appreciate you spending some time on a Monday, and I'm sure, look, it's going to be great to talk to you again soon. And Brian and JD will be back in the mix here after the holiday week and get a chance to get more of your insight when it comes to both these impeachment proceedings as well as the 2020 election.
Have a great
Thanksgiving.
one.
We appreciate
Enjoy your family.
Amee Vanderpool there from the BBC and, of course, contributor to Playboy. So, look, I mean, she's obviously had an impact. You guys got into it a little bit. She's not a Donald Trump supporter by any stretch of the imagination, as am I not. But, look, when it comes to these 2020 candidates, I'm telling you, this is the mentality of everybody that's not a Donald Trump supporter. Okay, whether you're a Republican that doesn't support him, whether you're an independent, whether you're a Democrat, or you're never Trumper like myself. The mentality is this, okay? It's that we need to right the ship. That's what we're thinking. That's what Democrats...
When you say right the ship, how do you right the ship?
I'm telling you what the perspective is from the people that do not support President
Trump. I'm not talking about that. I agree with you.
The 2020 election is about righting the ship.
You say right the ship.
Yeah,
I mean, what
I mean by that is this: is that it's been a crazy 3 years. There's been
How's the economy?
The economy's been doing well. Okay, the economy has been doing well.
How about jobs?
Jobs have been on an ascension.
How about home ownership?
Home ownership, I'm not aware of the statistics. Okay?
It's unbelievable. It's on the rise.
The point,
manufacturing.
And look, we get it. The economy is doing well. Okay. But just because the economy is doing well, are you? So what you're saying, you're attributing that all to Donald Trump.
I didn't say
Donald Trump being president for 3 years.
He has a lot to do with it.
That is why.
How about China?
It's like I use.
How about the trade for China?
I use this analogy all the time.
Yes.
Okay, just because there's a marathon that goes on, okay, for 26 and a half miles. Just because you rode in a cab for the first 24 and a half miles,
he's not riding
jumped
in a cab.
out of the cab and walked the rest of the way across the finish line, doesn't mean you get all the credit.
I'm not saying.
Okay?
I'm not giving. His plan.
You're bringing up things that have happened in the country regarding the economy and the economy being good,
what?
and as if that's the only thing that matters. It's not the only thing that matters.
When you listen to their messaging on the left, you're basically trying to tell people things aren't really going well. It's not true. The tax cuts didn't work. They did work.
Not necessarily.
In my business alone, I'm going to give, from a business perspective, I sell insurance to businesses. My business is up 70% in the last 2 years. Why? Because businesses have excess money and they could spend it on benefits that they weren't making before. I talk to other business owners in this community, in Las Vegas, restaurant owners, whose businesses are rising 25, 30%.
Yeah.
Why? Because people have money to spend when they go out to eat. If you don't have money to spend, guess what you don't do? You don't go out to eat.
I understand that.
And I'm here to tell you,
you're using anecdotal evidence, though, regarding...
But the claim of these people, these radical lefties, radicals...
Look,
I'm not talking about all of them.
It's not all or nothing, Pat. You don't have to be a radical lefty to be one success in this country.
You're missing my point. I'm not talking about Biden here. I'm talking about a Warren.
You're talking
Warren's basically saying we're dying here. We're struggling. That's her claim. We need Medicare for all. Understand what I'm saying. I'm not, again... Bloomberg is not that guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, Klobuchar isn't quite that bad to the left, but you have some people that are up on the protocol really high that are claiming that everything isn't that good. We're struggling. We're not. things aren't that bad.
People are criticizing things that should be rightly criticized, okay? Obviously, if
Criticizing
there's good
should-
things about the economy, we're not going to harp on that and say, oh, yeah, we're not going to say, oh, we need to fix those. We fix things that need to be fixed, okay? So this whole notion that just everybody on the left, look, what I have an issue with is like it's all or nothing. It seems to be
on both
for
sides.
a lot of people on the right, but no, a lot of people's mentality is like it's all or
But
nothing.
it's both sides, all or nothing. There is no
if you elect a Democrat president of the United States, everything is going to go into the you know what.
We are
and it's not.
There is
not
no
the case.
bipartisanship any longer. It's total partisanship. And that's the sad part. I will tell you this: for us to succeed, one way or the other, either go all the way to the left or all the way to the right, I believe you need a trifecta. You need the Senate, you need the House, and you need the White House. And if you have all three, then maybe you could do the right things that you believe that'll work. But I can also sit here and tell you, will they work for everybody? If you look at Nevada right now, a lot of crazy bills were passed this past second. I'm here to tell you that we don't have bipartisanship. We don't have people in Washington working for the people. They're working for they believe, their passion. Their passion
but that's been going on for years, Pat. It's
far worse.
Well,
I'm older than you. It's far worse in the last decade, and it's getting further to the left. You're talking about taking our country. You realize 30% of our youth believe that socialism is the way to go? That's a fact. That's not me. These are 30% believe socialism works. Look at Venezuela. People are getting rabid.
Well, they can still be wrong. Even if there's 30% of people that believe that's the way we should go, they could be wrong, Pat. That's not like the point. It doesn't mean we're going to go down that road.
Our ideology is changing internally. They're embracing socialism. That isn't us. What do you think? 257-5396, 702-257-5396.
And we do have callers on the line. Let's go to the GCI guys phone line. Andy joins us now. He wants to make some comments regarding the president and what he can do to win over voters. Andy, what's going on? Oh, 100%, absolutely. He does. He definitely deserves some credit.
The deregulation.
All right, whoa. Andy, that makes Andy. You're telling me Barack Obama, what year did Barack Obama get elected president? 2008, right? 2008.
He served from 9 to 16.
Right, exactly. What happened in 2008, okay? It was the worst financial crisis we had in this country since the Great Depression. So you're trying to tell me, Andy, you're just trying to tell me that Barack Obama deserves absolutely no credit for this country getting out of a hole like that? I mean, that's ridiculous.
They put a lot of provisions out there.
Well,
restrictions, and $2.9 trillion of regulations were taken away, and guess what's happening? Businesses are growing; they're thriving again.
Absolutely. Look, when Donald Trump became president, right? Republicans, Pat, you're a Republican. People, Andy, I would expect and assume you're a Republican too. Look, they were able to they were able to get deregulation out there. Okay, so there's no question that did help. That did goose the economy here in Donald Trump's presidency. But let's not get it twisted and say that the Barack Obama had nothing to do with the economy improving.
Let talk. Let's hear what we have.
Okay, you're what you're saying is Barack Obama deserves no credit. Is what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? What? It was in the toilet. What are you talking about? 2008. It was in the toilet. How the only place it had to go was up. I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, so I get. I understand what you're saying. Andy, we appreciate the phone call.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate you, man.
702-257-5396. This whole notion that Barack Obama deserves no credit is ridiculous.
Obama had a lot to do started to turn the ship right. But
exactly.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
And it's not just, by the way, it's not just the president.
I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why did we bail out the banks? Why do we give the banks money when they didn't need it? Why don't we give it to the people? Why do we give the banks the money, make them haul on houses that were going under? Why don't we help the people instead, lower the value of the house and work out a deal instead?
Well, look, I'm not an economist, but my impression of that was that it was needed to do to save the financial system in our country, basically,
if you read
right?
the book, Too Big to Fail,
there's a reason why
a lot of the banks didn't want the money. What they should have done is bailed out the citizens of the United States. You bailed out the banks. So with the
I don't know exactly how you do that.
The banks got the money. They got made whole on the real estate. Mm-hmm. They moved people out of those houses, and they resold them. The bottom line is, if you would have left people on those homes, and you would have lowered the value of those homes equal to what the market was, lowered the payments, and work out a deal over 10 or 15 years that if the economy turns around, if you sell that house inside of 10 or 15 years, we get our money back. If you live in the house beyond 15 years, you get to keep the money. Guess what you would have done? You would have kept people in their homes. The PTSD of losing a home would have been out the window, and a lot of good things could have happened. Let me say this. We have a lot of people that look at the Republicans as they're the ones that support the rich people and the Democrats that don't. And I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I think these politicians on both sides of the aisle support their donors, support their lobbyists. And you know who loses? The three of us in this room right now, or counting him, four.
Yes.
The bottom line is our politicians have to become bipartisan to work for every American citizen. Everyone's a constituent. Everyone. Whether you vote one way or the other. When I get elected as a Republican, I still represent Democrats. If I get elected as a Democrat, I represent Republicans. And this is where the politicians in the United States of America are failing us.
That's Pat Cassell. I'm Chris Wynn. We're in on your Monday. Brian Shapiro and J.D. Sharp, they're out today. But that's okay, as we'll continue much more of this discussion. We'll talk more about the 2020 candidates, also some of the impeachment proceedings, and your thoughts on that as well, too. 702-257-5396 is the phone number. 1 hour down. 2 more to go as the Vegas Take continues here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That was good.
Why you guys are, freaking Andy, why you guys are going to lose? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
I had some coffee. Jesus Christ.
Me too.
and it's not just Trump that's handling, by the way. It's Republicans. What Republicans are able to do when you talk about deregulation, when you're talking about the economy.
But it was
it's a lot of what Republicans are able to do. Look, I'm on board with that.
Can I tell you?
I have no problem with that.
Tell you some stuff.
But
you know I'm very. I was
Trump way too much credit.
Wait a minute, no.
Yeah, they are.
You know I was deeply
Trump's way
entrenched.
too much credit.
No, let me tell you something right now.
Yeah.
You can talk to Michelle, as I know her.
Yeah.
You ask her who told her who the leaker was, and this is going to be the first one they're going to get rid of. It was Ryan Priebus. And it happened. I'm very involved with the RNC.
That's one aspect.
No, he was a leaker. And Ryan and Priebus never liked Trump.
Well, Priebus is a establishment Republican. So that's
nor about Ryan. But I'm going to tell you what's happening. They're all changing.
Paul Ryan.
You know what happened in the state of Nevada prior? You remember it was a dark Saturday when Joe Heck was going to win the Senate seat. He lost along with Dean Heller, Romney, and Hardy. They all came out against the president when the Billy Bush tape came out, and they all got slaughtered. I'm friends with all of except for Romney. I don't talk to those three. All three of the Nevadans all said the same thing. We never expected Trump to be the guy he is. Mm-hmm. We cannot believe what he's accomplished. It's a miracle. Yep. Swear to God. I'm not talking about he's an asshole. I'm not talking about his skin. I'm talking about his action. Donald Trump's results. They can't believe it.
You guys give him way too much credit.
No.
It's what Republicans can do underneath him.
They're not doing anything. What are they doing underneath him? What are they doing?
No, I'm saying
they failed on the health. What did they do?
When the tax cut was all Republicans. That wasn't Donald Trump's magical freaking tax.
Trump was the one that came up with that idea. He pushed it. And Ryan wanted it.
The Republicans were behind all the.
They were behind
all that.
But can I tell you right
now?
The judges,
the judges and everything. That's all the Republicans. That's not Trump. You think Trump? You said it yourself, Pat. He's not a Republican.
But he's big. But he's conservative.
You think he's an abortion guy? You think he cares about abortion?
Do you know what the definition of conservative is? Huh? Conservative is if that stove is hot, you touch it, you get burned. You touch it again, the answer is no. That's really what Trump is. By him going after these judges, changing the judges, he wants people to judge based on the rule of law, not the party. You have a lot of judges.
He's not thinking that way. That's not Trump's mentality.
So let me tell you right now.
He's not thinking like that. He's a transactional guy.
You're if Ginsburg goes down,
he's like I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that can do this.
You want me to keep the callers or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll jump right back into this at 10.
It's been good. It's a good segment.
Yeah. We got Carl. We got JD. We got JD's hilarious.
I know JD.
But
Carl.
Carl's
in
not.
the north.
Carl's like me. He's not. Carl calls into Steve's show, and he's the psychologist.
He also calls.
He's the guy that always says how he's a freaking psychologist.
He also calls into which cold show?
To
Kevin Wall.
Kevin Wall show, yeah.
He lives in
So
Reno.
Carl will probably have like a soliloquy about Donald Trump's mentality. You know what I mean? He'll break down like his psychology or whatever.
I'll tell you one thing.
But you said he's not a Republican, dude. So he is a transactional guy. Donald Trump's a transactional guy.
You think the Republican Party? You think the Republicans are Republicans anymore? They're done. It's over. You think the Democrats are Democrats anymore? They're not.
I think they were Republican. I mean, look.
You know what's funny?
In the John McCain, I think of John McCain. I think Republicans. I think John McCain. I think the Bushes.
I don't think he was Republican. I think he was. I think he was a centrist.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at you. Look at me. You were a Democrat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You were a Democrat, and I'm a Republican. We're both Americans.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you are as far as politically.
I'm nothing.
So you're independent. So the three of us are American citizens who believe in the country. And guess what? That's what it's all about. And this is what they're failing to see in Washington. They're not looking at us and saying, "Hey, man, by the way, they have cream."
Yeah, they did.
Can I get some? Oh, please. Can I get some cream?
What time? How much time do we have left?
We have
probably 2 minutes.
Yeah, at least good 2 minutes, if you don't mind. I like it. If you just put extra, that's great. I appreciate you. I didn't expect it. I think you're awesome for making the coffee. But here's the thing: these people in Washington, Schiff and McConnell, they forgot about you and me. You know what's funny? When you and I were kids, we may think differently. Like you're a Lions fan. I'm a Vikings fan. That don't mean anything. There's only 2 times a year we don't like each other.
Yeah.
When they play each other. But other than that, we're on the same page. We believe in the country. Because you're a Democrat doesn't mean you're any more American than I am. Bullshit. No way. You believe in this country. You fought for this country. Why? Because it was an opportunity for you to get a good education.
Well, yeah, it was because at that time when I was in, they had the GI Bill, so I got I was able to go to college.
You were smart.
Basically for free, yeah.
But the thing is, but
I made a commitment though.
But if you had to go
to
war, you were going to war.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Right. So the point I'm trying to make is
committed for 8 years.
So for me to sit there and say, well, you're a Democrat, you're anti-American. It's bullshit.
No.
You're as much
and that's why I love pushing
American
back on people who try to question patriotism of. Look, there's people that have served this country in the military who are Democrats, Republicans, Independents.
And here's what I can tell you: Kennedy today would be a Republican, based on his standards. And the problem I'm trying to make to you is there's no longer a Republican or Democrat. There are American citizens who believe in the American capitalistic way, and now you have a new growth of people who believe socialism, the big government should be taking care of us. Government, we need them to feed us. Bullshit. That's where Bloomberg is going to get eaten alive, and I'll tell you why. Because Bloomberg wanted to limit how much soda you can consume in New York State. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to limit it to a certain. I mean, that's a problem.
The big gulp, baby. He doesn't want the big gulp around.
But in principle, he's right. But technically,
it's fascist. Yeah, it's fascist.
And that's really where we're going.
Yeah.
What happened to thinking about? I mean, God, we're all entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we're all the same. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're all the same.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're forgetting to realize where we're at in this country.
Mm-hmm.
What made this country great is capitalism.
Shab's on the phone. Shab's on the phone.
Who?
Okay.
Who's Shap?
Shab wants to chime in.
Who's that? Shapiro?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so he's gonna chime in.
I didn't know you called him Shap.
Yeah, I call him Shab.
See, you keep saying I'm a Republican.
You are, right?
I may be Republican registered. I am American. I'm red, white,
well,
and
yeah,
blue.
but I'm a Democrat too. I don't,
Yeah, but I got news for you. You'd vote for a Republican if he was the right person for the job.
Absolutely,
and I would vote for a Democrat if they're the right person for the job.
Absolutely.
That's what you.
And that's why.
Did you hear me say Schultz?
Yeah, that's why I have a beef with Trump because I don't think Trump's. I mean, it's not because Trump's a Republican. I don't like him. It's because the way he acts and and
his actions
and his approach to certain situations.
I would agree some of his approaches are wrong, but at the same time, I also see that if he doesn't do what he does, his message gets stained. Mm-hmm. A lot of things come out that aren't necessarily true. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my listen.
I mean, when I was in the military, Bush Senior was the president. I had no problems with Bush Senior.
Bush Senior, I like. Bush
I had no problems with him. He's a Republican.
And Bush Junior wasn't president. It was Dick Cheney.
10 seconds.
Look how much money he made.
Yeah. Rolling into Thanksgiving week here. It is the Vegas Take coming your way live, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn, Chris Wynn, Pat Casale in for Brian Shapiro and J.D. Sharp. We've been getting in hot and heavy into, the possible candidates for the 2020 election. Also, of course, the impeachment inquiry that has gone on for the past couple of weeks, and getting your thoughts, too, at 702-257-5396. And, of course, the discussion's been, back and forth, and we've been getting into it. But joining us now here on the phone lines, and we have some other callers as well. So we'll get to Carl, we'll get to JD and others also. But joining us now on the phone line is Brian Shapiro. Brian wants to chime in on the host here of the Vegas Take on what we've been discussing. And Brian, great to have you on the line, my friend. Shap, it's been pretty interesting to say the least. Happy Thanksgiving, and it's been we've been going back and forth here a little bit regarding what exactly President Trump's intentions and what exactly we think has been going on regarding the economy here in the United States over the past 3 years.
That's not necessarily. Actually, that wasn't true yet. That hasn't been proven yet. That's speculation. $95,000 a year, not a month. Working for the White House, organizing the athletes coming to visit the president. Anybody how did you think Sondland got his job? He paid him. He donated $1 million to the Trump fund to run for president. So that's how he got the job. Hunter Biden. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hunter Biden's job was you're talking $95,000 a year versus $83,000 a month for a guy who was dishonorably discharged. Well, he got over to dishonorably, but he was discharged from the service for doing drugs. Doing drugs is not against the law. Illegal drugs, you just said that wasn't against the law. So, but I know what you're making.
Well, Pat, we can all agree, right? I think we can all agree here that nepotism exists.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's not illegal, right?
And
it's not illegal.
Right.
So,
they all get
this
jobs.
whole notion that there's been some wrongdoing from you can say from Giuliani's son, you could say from Hunter Biden, from Joe Biden, who was the vice president at the time, which, somehow, in a lot of Republicans' mind, that just indicts him as some type of criminal because his son got a job where he got a high-paying job that he probably didn't deserve.
You know what? Biden's
to me, it's all a bunch of just nonsense.
It is nonsense. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you read the transcripts, which I did, and again, it's perception. The conversation between the Ukrainian leader Zelensky and Trump, I don't take from it the collusion and the
it's 100% a quid pro quo. It's pretty much
based on Sondland's words.
Pat.
He didn't want. Again, I'm just going to sit here. It's hard. And it's not impeachable, by the way. But be that as it may, that's what they said.
Whoa.
They said
says it's not impeachable?
They've said that's not. If you listen to all the pundits, sure,
yeah.
Certainly. I wouldn't say it was a perfect phone call, but Brian, you know what I do believe? I don't believe he was looking to get him, and I honestly believe this. I don't think he was looking for Biden to get junk on Biden because he wanted to hurt Biden. I think he wanted to go back to the 2016 elections and find out what happened. I really believe that. I mean, Brian, I swear to God, not all of a sudden. had to do with it had to do with Joe Biden's name, but I don't believe it had anything to do with. I honestly don't believe it was about the election. I swear to God, and I'll tell you why. I think that because if you remember, prior to 2016, Trump made the comment before he got elected that there's tampering, this election is dirty, and Obama himself said, he just go back, relax, just go to the election. They all thought he couldn't lose. They thought he couldn't win. They thought Hillary was going to win. Then it comes out, oh my God, the Russian interference and the DNC hack. I'm just going to sit here and say I honestly believe he wanted to get to the bottom of that, but I do believe Giuliani. If you go back, go ahead, but sure. You know what? I can't answer that question. I don't see it as personal gain.
Pat, look, in fairness to you, every Republican, every Trump supporter can't answer the question because the answer, is absolutely opposite of what they want to believe. Okay, that's the case.
That's not true.
Yes, it is
no,
because
it's not true.
Every Republican.
Listen,
look,
here's the deal.
I love doing this, by the way. I love.
I can say Trump is narcissistic.
I love
doing this. He has a thin skin. He's not an average politician. But I got to tell you something.
Average politician.
But I got to tell you, he is running the country as a businessman.
Well,
and he's been successful.
Look, I get
that's
that.
just my opinion.
I get it. I don't know how successful he's been, whatever. But I love playing this game. All right, flip this over, and what if this was Hillary Clinton that had this phone call? Have all the facts be the same regarding the phone call to the Ukrainian President Zelensky. Flip it all over to have Hillary Clinton make that phone call. Have Barack Obama make that phone call. Have George W. Bush make that phone call. Have Bill Clinton make that phone call. Have Jimmy Carter make that phone call. And where do you think Republicans would stand on this? Where do you think Republicans would be saying about this? And let me tell you, I have evidence of that. Okay, there's a guy named Lindsey Graham. Okay, Lindsey Graham, who is the ultimate when it comes to hypocrisy regarding his viewpoint on presidents and what their conduct should be in certain situations. There's Lindsey Graham back in 1998, and then there's Lindsey Graham here in 2019.
So you could say the same thing about Biden.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you go back to the Anita Hill case, and then he pulled that back. I mean, let me tell you, you show me a policy. You show me a
guy who was vice president
Biden's career Biden has had a career.
We're not talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about President Trump.
Wait a minute. You just brought in Lindsey Graham. I brought up. Let me tell you, you show me a politician who doesn't go by the way the wind blows, and I'll show you. I'll show you a guy who's not a politician.
You agree with Mick Mulvaney then? You think that? And I posed this when Brian was hosting the show last week, and I said, look, and by the way, with Steph Moulton when he was on the show, I posed this. I said, okay. Let's just take President Trump at face value, what he said as far as the phone call. It was a perfect phone call. So are you saying that, okay, if it's a perfect phone call, President Trump should just keep on doing exactly what he did on the phone call and keep doing it?
You realize that on that phone call, we never, ever hear a phone call between a president and a dignitary.
You're
know that, right?
My point that I'm trying to make.
You really think Trump would release something that would incriminate him? Sure, please.
Yeah. Yes.
He did. And when that comes to fruition, Brian, I will tell you that, and if it's proven, that may change my point of view. But let me say this, and I sincerely mean this. What really gets me, and I know you're independent, but you have Biden being videoed, basically saying, "Hey, you want that $1 billion? You need to fire this attorney."
No, you're not using the correct. That's not the correct reasoning, Pat, as to why he was.
Why did he fire?
That's not the reasoning.
What do you call it? He said, "I'm not going to give you the money unless you fire the guy."
All right, Brian, you can take this because you've said this many times on the show. Why? What is the reason? Okay, you tell me, Brian. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But didn't Trump want to fight corruption? Didn't he say to Zelensky, I want to fight the corruption. If you want our help, we need to fight the corruption. We want Europeans to pay their share. But that's the same topic.
Pat, he said, I want you to do us a favor, though. I want you to do us a favor. It's been this. I don't understand why this is so difficult for Republicans to understand. It's been established. There was a quid pro quo.
It has not been established.
That's not okay. It's absolutely been established 100%. That was a quid pro quo. Right.
Right. He's got.
And that's why I brought Lindsey Graham into it, because Lindsey Graham was all holier than now back in '98, talking about Bill Clinton and how it's not just about finding some concrete thing that was illegal that he did. It's about his activity.
What happened to Bill Clinton? By the way, he perjured himself.
It's about him being. Oh, hey.
But
I'm not sitting here trying to.
His popularity.
I'm not here trying to defend Slick Willie.
Okay. Through the roof, which is happening
he should
right
have
now.
been impeached, and he got impeached. And
you know
it
what?
looks like
and
President Trump's going to get impeached.
And you know what? Clinton did a hell of a job.
Absolutely. When it came to other things, yeah.
The actions with Giuliani, I would have to sit here and say I'm not on board with it. But Giuliani's been looking to go after Biden way before. I mean, again, this wasn't because he's running for the president. I'm going to say, if I'm not on board, it means it's wrong and inappropriate. I thought what Giuliani did on his own. Now, if he did this under the instruction of the president.
Giuliani did on his own.
Based on the conversation he had yesterday in that 15-minute interview, it definitely didn't sound like he had the president's carte blanche. I don't think he went to get dirt on his political opponent. There's a lot more here than meets the eye. They're talking about stuff that's far deeper than what you and I are talking about. And what Sondland did last week was amazing, because I will tell you, I almost called you up and said, you know what? There's a smoking gun, right? And then all of a sudden, what did Sondland do? He put the crap back into the goose. And then what did he do? He left the country right away. And no, he lied. That written statement was to protect his own behind, because he got nailed. He didn't want to he would want to go down the road of some others. Now I'm going to ask, when you look at $1 million to get a job.
And he threw a bunch of people under the bus. What was it, Thursday when Wednesday or Thursday when he testified.
And then
he
what
was
happened?
Tossing everybody and their brother under the bus.
And then he turned around and he recanted most of what he said earlier.
Wow. Yeah.
I will sit here and tell you, Trump has said a lot of things that I do not agree with. Some of his tweets are ridiculous. But by the same token, I will tell you this story from Dean Heller, who told me this himself. He goes, we never believed in Trump's tweeting until one day I'm on Air Force One coming back to Nevada. When something happened, he sent down a tweet, and within 2 minutes, it was on every news station. He goes, at that moment, I realized what he was trying to do. And he was just trying to make sure everybody hears it from the horse's mouth. Now, that horse sometimes needs to brush his teeth and gargle, because sometimes he spews crap, which is not really good. I agree. The insurance question, right? I have to tell you, he's trying to bring that back. Chris and I discussed that, and I sat here, when I watched that whole interview, that one segment, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Another person in political powers, whether it's the FBI, whoever, talking about an insurance policy. And I thought to myself, what in the hell are you talking about? So I have to sit here and tell you, that definitely got my ears back. I have no idea. I can tell you right now, I have no idea. I don't have a clue to what's going on sometimes when I hear stuff like that. But yet Giuliani's trying to put that crap back in the goose. I agree with you there, and I will tell you this. I've said this to Chris. I tell you right now, President Trump doesn't win the election. The Democrats will lose the election the way they're going. Now, I will tell you this. I don't believe Trump will write his name up on his own. I think because of his fact that he has a guy in his ear, like Giuliani, always talking about Biden. All of a sudden, he's like, okay, let's hear about it. And I really believe that. Every president is surrounded by people that feed you stuff that you either that at this point I would not be able to answer that without really looking into it. But I'm going to sit here and tell you I believe every president in my lifetime, from Johnson, I mean Kennedy, I was too small, but from Johnson all the way up to the present, have had advisors who essentially made decisions. I will tell you, Bush Jr. wasn't really president in my mind. It was Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney made a lot of money doing it. Nope. Now you're right. No, nobody has, and I will admit that was crazy. But I will also tell you, but who was the young lady who met on the tarmac with Clinton? Right. And I'll tell you what.
That was the Attorney General of the United States.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I said that. The bottom line is this. We have, in our country right now, and I said this earlier, we don't have a bipartisan nation. We have a partisan nation. And a house divided within itself cannot stand. That was Abraham Lincoln. And I'm sitting here telling you, Brian, you and I may differ in our opinions, but the end result is we're looking for greatness. We're looking for positives for the United States of America. Same with Chris. Yeah. Chris and I, he's the only time he's a football fan, I'm a football. He's a Lions fan, I'm a Vikings fan. So there's 2 times a year for sure we're not going to agree. Be that as it may, we believe in the country, the United States. He was a serviceman. He served he served 8 years honorably. He put the country first any way you look at it. Yes, he took advantage of some benefits, but he served the country. That's what it was all about. He was a patriot. Because he's a Democrat doesn't mean he loves the country any less than I love it as a Republican. Because sometimes when people speak, whether it's against or for somebody, the person they're speaking about maybe that person did say things that weren't 100% accurate. I mean, I'm going to sit here and tell you.
But what Brian's talking about, of course, is Ivanovich and people like Vindman and
Ivanovich,
who have worked in multiple
I believe, is a woman scorned
for both Republicans and Democrats.
I think Ivanovich is a woman scorned. She got fired in her mind for no reason at all. I'll say
she's a career diplomat.
Wait a minute, but she got fired and she was pissed. But I got to sit here and I'll say this to you: one of the Trump's biggest mistakes, he didn't do like Obama did. When he got elected, he didn't clean house. Where Obama did clean house. So he has a lot of people carried over from the last administration, a la Patton. Give me some people who know how to run the railroad system here, and I'll fire the Nazis that we're using. Bottom line is, I don't necessarily agree. Maybe Trump should have cleaned house. He also doesn't have as many people working as we had previously. Bottom line is, we're looking at here as a circle jerk of things that are going on, and we need to work together. We're not getting that out of Washington. Whether it was the FBI or whether it was the CIA, whether it was the former president, whether our current president. I mean, when you look at what's going on, if I were Trump, yes, I'm thin-skinned. I'm not a politician. And that's the bottom line. And the only reason he won the election, frankly,
there's a bunch of reasons.
The number one reason, Hillary was unelectable.
Yeah. It's the Vegas Take coming away live here on a Monday. Brian Shapiro joins us on the phone line. Brian, have a happy Thanksgiving, my friend. We'll see you in a few days, right?
Thank you.
Take care of yourself, all right there, big guy. 702-257-5396 is the phone number. On the other side, we're going to get back into this. We're going to roll. 2020, what does it mean? Also, the impeachment inquiry, we want your thoughts. The phone lines are loaded up as we continue on a Monday on the Vegas Tape.
Man,
That's good radio.
Yeah, it is.
I can't hear the. They said they can't hear the
How we
callers.
doing?
No,
They can't
the
hear the
vision.
callers?
They said they can hear the call, but I didn't do anything. I did the same shit I do every time. But like I noticed when I plugged in today, and when they first shut on, it seemed like it was low. But he said he reset it. But there'd be other people coming in here sometimes and doing shows. Yeah. I don't know. No, it's all right. So I plug in here, right? And this is how I normally do. So I plugged in there. And it's just the phone. It's just the phone. I'm not getting.
That's fucking amazing.
That lady, what?
Lady that doesn't like
it's just the phone. I'm getting everything else but the phone.
That doesn't like you?
She hates me. Because I'm a Republican, so is she.
I'm getting the commercial right now.
Okay.
But
you couldn't hear Brian.
I can hear him, but they said they couldn't hear it on YouTube. So I'm like,
I'm about results.
Oh,
I was like,
that's the exact same feed, right? If you're hearing it in your headphones, you should be.
I'm on radio.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Shit.
Thank you. I mean, you know what's funny? When you look at what's going on in the world right now, I'm just looking at it this way. I like the fact that our military is kicking ass, although I wonder sometimes because we haven't pulled the trigger. And you know what? Everybody thought Trump was going to be a warmonger.
Yeah, Trump fucked that up, though. The whole thing with Syria, he fucked that up. That was bad. You can't pull out. You can't pull the people out.
How many people
You
did he pull
can't
out?
fuck the Kurds like
How many people did he pull out? 38.
They screwed the Kurds.
38 people.
They screwed the Kurds.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Look at this.
38 people.
Oh, wait a minute.
Way more than that.
Newton Yancey's just threatened to sue CNN and Daily Beast over that
Good
story.
luck with that. That's not going anywhere.
Hey,
CNN.
I'm not getting the audio from the phone.
CNN and somebody else.
I'm getting everything else.
It's CNN and somebody else.
But I just can't get the audio from the phone. I don't understand why. Like on YouTube, it's not playing. No, okay. Well, I can hear it in my headphones. I just can't. Yeah, I did, and he came in here and looked at everything. Johnny came in here and looked at everything. He was like, swap it out. We'll just take it out.
Brady's on the phone line too. The phone lines are full. Brady, Chuck, Jimmy, Tom, and Carl.
Guess we did something right.
Put the audio into my.
So who's going to win the national title? I can't believe you said that.
My boy George, my boy Lawrence, bro. The guy's money.
I think it's going to be Ohio State against Clemson.
Yeah, but they just like everybody was texting me. They were like, "Man, we can't hear the callers. But they can hear everything. You can hear the commercials. You can hear the people in the studio. You just can't hear the call. I don't understand why.
They were an also ran for the past 30 years. 30 years.
They got one title.
Nobody even mentioned Clemson.
No one. But get this. You know who's going to succeed, Saban? Dabo.
I could see it.
He's an Alabama law.
I could see it. I could totally see it.
Which would suck. Clemson.
Saban's got another 5 years of stuff.
Tell you what. I think because Tua's gone.
Yeah, I can hear it to my. Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I don't understand.
They get in the playoffs. Oh my God, they're just as good as anybody. They're loaded. Notre Dame has to change their standards, or they're never going to compete for the national title. I mean, they may get to the playoffs, but they ain't going anywhere. Unbelievable. But Ohio State, oh my God, Urban built some machine that kid took over. He's doing a hell of a job with them. They actually dominated that Penn State too. That wasn't as close as the 11.
They did dominate that.
But man, I'm telling you, this would be a great playoff. I think they need to go in an 18 playoff. 18 playoff would be perfect.
At least 8.
Well, only 8 teams can possibly win. So no, after that, it's not going to happen. Like Minnesota could
Well,
never
I was on
win.
with KT last week, and he had on this guy who's got a plan for a 16th team.
Not for football.
Because it lets in the teams like Boise State. It lets in the,
And you know what?
It lets in the UCFs.
But here's the reason. I agree with that. But here's the
teams.
problem: a team like that gets in there, and injuries happen. Either the good team or the bad team is not good. 8 teams can really win a title if they have 1 loss or less.
I'm trying to do my computer. This is how slow my computer's running right now.
Have to allow a team
Never
with a
I
couple
do this.
losses. I just don't see that. Like I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan. This team right now, they can't beat any of the top 6 teams. No shot. No way. LSU would kill them. Alabama would destroy them. Ohio State would just forget about it. Okay? I mean, Georgia beat them once. They could play with Georgia because Georgia's offense is different. But I look at Alabama. Alabama punched them right
But you
in the
know the
mouth.
mentality behind getting more teams in. It's just giving the long shot that opportunity.
But I don't think it'll ever happen. 8
Yeah,
teams
we
might
get it.
happen.
Alabama and freaking Clemson crushed a lot of these teams.
Oh.
But it's just the
And
opportunity.
Clemson, I'll tell you what about Clemson. They don't pull any punches. They score, man.
They'll just light you up.
Unreal. What's going on with the since you're traveling with the sport? All right, basketball sucks.
We'll be talking about that later on.
Is it the coaching?
We'll be talking football mostly. We'll talk football.
Yeah, I know. I like Caleb. He's a good quarterback. He was a good kid.
He's good. He's a good color commentator too.
I just don't see him being that. They should go to Division II. They'll be great.
See, the mentality though, the people here in Vegas, they want him to move up. They want to move.
They want to go to Pac-12.
Pac-12, bro, because they're moving into this new stadium. They think they should be a. You know what I'm saying? They think they should be a.
They could play. They couldn't play with any of those teams.
Yeah. But that's what they want.
Arizona.
They're not talking about going down. They're talking about moving up.
ASU, Arizona, California, Oregon State.
It is. Everything's
They're the bottom.
yeah. I gotta get ready. To go back live. Hold on.
Go to the phones.
Vegas Take coming your way on a Monday. Chris Wynn and Pat Casal in for Brian Shapiro and J.D. Sharp. We've been discussing, of course, the impeachment hearings and inquiry and what this means for the 2020 election cycle that we're about to dive headfirst into. And, of course, the involvement of names like Rudy Giuliani and others and with respect to other things, all things the Ukraine. Actually, it's just Ukraine, not the Ukraine. And we're taking your calls also at 702-257-5396 and your thoughts on that. Let's jump back to the phone lines, Pat, and get some perspective and some thoughts on this. Carl joins us now on the phone line. Carl, what's going on? We appreciate your phone call here on a Monday.
And thanks for waiting, Carl.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. I know you've been on for a while. Exactly, right?
See, I can hear the caller, but it's just real low in my headphones.
So you're saying the black unemployment's only down 1 point since the president got elected?
And that's the thing, Carl, is that a lot of Republicans, and especially a couple of our callers today, are trying to say, you know what, Obama, yeah, the economy did grow, but it just didn't grow fast enough, right, for our liking.
How about wages?
He wasn't good enough with the economy. He just, he took it from basically a bottom out spot.
So can I ask you this?
Carl, we appreciate the phone call. He's already off. We have
Here's a question, though. How come the Podestas aren't in jail? You know they were partners with Manafort? They were Manafort's partners.
You're coming out of nowhere with that for me. But
no, but when you talk about corruption, I mean...
He was kind of addressing the whole thing about honesty and about corruption in the White House. And look, and by the way, we had Michelle, who called in earlier trying talk about other people lying, whether it be Elizabeth Warren about her heritage and all that, and then saying, oh yeah, well, but not bringing up the current president of the United States, who has been absolutely documented, has lied more than any president in modern history. So there's that point also. 702-257-5396 is the phone number. Tom joins us now here on the Vegas Tape. Tom, what's going on?
Okay. All right. So what?
Our nation's, I didn't hear that. What nation's what?
Mm-hmm.
National debt is just absolutely through the roof, Pat. I mean, we can't deny that, right?
No,
that's something. Look, and that's something
that.
There's something that a lot of Republicans harped on, right, Tom, for years.
You know what? Most of our debts. Why most of the debt is rising? No, not at all. Not at all.
Reading it on the.
Listen, that wasn't my point. I wasn't going to say that at all. Tom. It was Tom, right?
Yeah.
The majority of our debt right now is juice. The interest on the money we borrowed. Unfortunately, we have to get that. We have to get that reeled in. I agree, but unfortunately, we have been in such a cycle of craziness. The idea is that we could generate more tax revenue that would help. But the point is, the interest rate on that number is atrocious. And
that's
and I agree.
Right, Tom, it's not about why the debt is skyrocketing. The president of the United States, the current president,
but it did double.
He's going to bring it down, right?
But here's the thing.
And I agree. Make
what you're saying
to do that.
But they doubled the debt doubled under the last administration, and it's still rising.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, it's rising. But here's the problem. Here's the real problem. And I go back to what I said earlier. Because we have a partisan political machine, our debt is rising because neither side is coming to the table working willingly. I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. Okay? Sure.
Yeah.
So CNN has nothing to do with it. MSNBC and CNN are just total patriots. You're telling me that CNN and MSNBC are totally patriotic?
I don't think Fox News has been divided. I think it's a news outlet. I don't know about news. It's a media outlet. Yeah, and we appreciate your phone call, Tom.
I love slamming. Fox is
we can do a whole 3-hour show on the media.
We can do a week. But I want to tell you, Fox's growth. Why are the other networks dying? Because Fox's growth, because they are giving you both sides. There's a lot of people at Fox that are not favoring Trump.
702-257-5396 is the phone number. I believe we have JD next on the phone line. JD, thanks for the call here to the Vegas Tape. I believe so.
All right, I'll try to figure it out. See what else I can do.
Amee Vanderpool, you're addressing? Yes.
He's repeating her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she felt that she was being disrespected as a guest, and I'm just JD. Look, I'm just trying to give you a perspective that I think she was coming from. Well, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you're hearing me talk right now. Hmm. Mhm. Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah, she's a guest on our show, and she felt that she was being disrespected, so that was the whole thing. JD, we appreciate the phone call. But by the way, he's talking about the point that you made, bringing up, look, there's partisan, there's not the bipartisan that we would like, right, in this country.
Exactly.
And when it comes to Republicans, Democrats, Independents, I would make this contention. I would say this: there's always been people who have been partisan to one side or the other. I just think that the negativity is exacerbated by the president of the United States, because I think Donald Trump. Look, you have to admit this, Pat. He's a guy who likes a fight. He's a guy who gets fighty.
I'd love
He's
to
a guy
blame, but it's both sides. You and I could sit at the table, disagree, and make something work.
I don't understand how you cannot realize that he has created a lot of the animosity in this country in the last 3 years.
You're right. I'll give you that.
The media
I'll agree.
has been the media for the last for decades.
But how about the
media's
people?
Been the same.
I'm going to agree with you there. I'll give you that. Now give me this. Explain to me
Jay
how.
was bringing up points about reporters being
but
biased.
But how about
and all
on the
this.
reverse side? We don't. There's a yin and yang here. Let's be honest. The left is just as bad. They're the ones that are throwing the bombs. I mean, they call Trump anything but human.
It's not just the left. It's not just people who are to the left that don't like President Trump. What about people like Steve Schmidt? What about people like Rick Wilson?
When
what about
he got
people
elected,
there are
on the news crying, "Oh my God, they elected Trump."
There are people who are Trump supporters, and then there are others who are not.